no, dude. Okay. You know what? I said I was going to do this in 5 minutes. Lied. We're going to take our time. Alright. So, we're just going to start with the order that the game is presenting to, that the tier list makers doing it, okay? Final Fantasy 8. S tier. Hold on. If we have an A plus tier, we need to have a regular A tier. I might get rid of a tier. This. Okay. 11, haven't played. Seems goated, though. Seems goated. 15. The story of Prince Noctis Lucis Kylum. He is the worst character in his own game. I played it in 2016. Apparently the game is a lot more complete now. But in the way it's complete is by... Because with Final Fantasy 15, it obviously it comes from okay, let's just put it somewhere and then I'll talk. We're gonna be... I might change things later. Okay. It's a game where you can smell its potential. You can smell what they were planning and wanted to do. Everyone knows the whole Versus 13 thing. But when you play the game, like, everyone knows that there have been trailers. Like, I think about the battle Elticia against Leviathan. How that looked way, way, way cooler in a trailer. And I know that's not going to ding it too many points on that, because a lot of video games have stuff in trailers that look cooler than the actual game. But when you actually play it, you can feel... You can sense that things had to be cobbled together. That things had to be removed, that didn't quite work out, or they didn't have time for. That is my least favorite thing about 15. Is you can sense that it was a different and more ambitious and probably even better game there. The combat, I think, is meh. I think the combat is meh. The story is alright. Towards the end of the game, with the time skip, I think shit gets kind of cool. The villain is pretty cool. Best thing about the game is the bros. The camaraderie. Like, I think... Like, that's why I don't dislike 15, because one of the main things that it set out to do was, like, a road trip. And the characters are kind of like anime... What do you call it? Stereotypes. You got buff warrior guy, you got twink camera guy, you got nerdy guy. Who's the mage. They're big, just like, on their own, they're not that interesting, but together, I think they're great. And there's this moment in the game where Noctis is really, really emo about something. And, you know, he has to, we all have the right to feel how we feel. But what I liked about that scene where it was emo, one of the characters, Gladio, he was just like, you're being a fucking bitch, bro. Like, this guy, he lost way more than you. And he's still in it. You need to fucking get your shit together. And I like that scene a lot. Because usually the main character always gets really coddled. Is that the right word? And Noctis is royalty. and he was just like, "Nah, bro, need to get your head back in the game. We have stuff to do." That was probably my favorite scene in the game. So C. If I indeed only had 5 minutes to do this, we would have been done right now. Final Fantasy V. B. Really good job system. I think it's the first time they ever did the job system. The story's okay. I think Final Fantasy IV has a better story. Like, pre-6, I think 4 has the best story. It just doesn't do much for me outside of the job system, and it's a little bit of a... I'm making this list in 2026 because the job system gets so much like expanded in future games, you know. But this is like for the time. What year did this game come out? 1991 or something. I want to see. Oh shit. There's the news, I guess. But let's see. Final Fantasy V release date. 1992. Okay. Cool game. 4. Okay, they have... I've never played the After Years. Isn't that just kind of like a post-game sort of thing? So I don't know what Final Fantasy IV the After Years exactly is. Final Fantasy IV, this tier list is ordered. I like it better than 5. We're going to talk about every Final Fantasy, but I like it better than 5. It's the story of the Dark Knight. I think his name was Cecil. I forget. I think it was Cecil. Story of redemption. One of the... It like created the Dragoon imagery. And Dragoons are like easily one of the coolest things in like any video game. 14, I have played, but not that much. Like I've only finished the base game. So yeah, this is gonna be that classic tier list where I don't do the MMOs. Not because I don't like MMOs. I absolutely adore MMOs. Like, 11 seems legendary to me. I wish I played that back in the day. 14, I've just gotten into, like, 6 or 7 different times. 6 or 7 different times. 6 or 7. And I replay it every time from the beginning, but the times I played it have been, like, with a friend, and then we never continue, or with an ex, and then we break up, and then I don't continue. So it's always like one of those things where like I don't stick with it for games for reasons that have little to do with the game, you know. But I see the vision, but I haven't played most of it, so we'll put it in. We'll put it in. Haven't played. Final Fantasy 9. I recently played that actually last year. Fantastic party. It has the worst combat, though. It's too slow, man. It's ATB. And you get 4 characters. And I think they were scared of giving you 4 characters. Well, they've done it before, but I think they slowed down the pace too much. Like, the ATB bars charge real slow in Final Fantasy 9. Like, you're doing more waiting than playing. But it has goated characters. Tiger Time says 9 is B+ for him. Yeah. I don't know why I made it A+. I'm not gonna make more tiers. If I'm gonna do anything, I'm gonna remove tiers. But yeah, 9 is goated. It has some of the best characters. The character growth is really amazing. Cool world. Villain is okay. Kuja's alright. And then at the end you get Necron, is it? That people feel like is a Deus Ex Machina, but I never minded Necron so much. but I consider Kuja. I consider Kuja the main villain. I mean, he's the main villain for like 95, not 95% of the game. He doesn't really appear until like 30% in. Yeah, I really like 9. The thing that I don't like is its combat, 100%. And then the way you the power-up system in 9 is you use gear and like this piece of gear has the cure spell on it, so you can use cure while you have the gear piece on, or if you have collect enough experience or AP, I think, to fill up the bar on that piece of gear, then you get to use cure without having that piece of gear on. And then you get, it's actually basically Lumina later from Expedition 33. Expedition 33 is a PlayStation 1 Final Fantasy game through and through. But it's not very exciting. I feel like you gain the skills off of the gear a bit too slow, so often you're wearing like shitty gear a little bit longer than you would like, just because you want to learn that spell permanently, but I guess that's the whole trade-off. But yeah. Tiger Time says, the journey is awesome, the places you visit are just so good. Hello, man. Those cities and towns are so good. So good. Yeah. 9, I feel pretty good about where I have it placed right now. But it might change. It might change. Final Fantasy 1, I mean, you can do the whole, like, it started everything, etc., but, Final Fantasy 1 is solid. Good, solid RPG. It's fun, has good content. Already has good music. Final Fantasy's always had good music right from the beginning. It's been a long while, but yeah, I feel like C is solid. Hold on, let me remove the MMOs. Like, these are all the expansions for 14. Okay. And Final Fantasy 12 Revenant Wings. I haven't played that. That was a DS exclusive spin-off. So, okay, we put all of the... It looks like I haven't played most of these, but, most Final Fantasy games, but these are, like, all of the expansions. So, yeah, I feel solid about putting 1 in C tier. Perfectly fine NES RPG. Was it NES or Super NES? I think NES. Yeah, it was 1985. 100% NES. 7. Here we go. Here we go, baby. People feel very strongly about this one. I gotta fight my hipster urges here. I think the PS1 Final Fantasy games are some of the best games of all time. And because of that, maybe the lowest rated PS1 Final Fantasy game should be... Do they have tactics here, by the way? They don't have tactics here. That's bullshit. Tactics is so good. Okay. That's annoying. I was just thinking, because Tactics came out on PS1. That's annoying. Final Fantasy Tactics is so fucking good. But, okay. 7. I like it more than 9. I like it less than 8. So, it has to be in between them, but if I put 9... Yeah, can I make a placeholder? Okay, everyone, let's say Final Fantasy 12 Revenant Wings. This is a stand-in for Final Fantasy Tactics. I find it a bit bizarre that Final Fantasy Tactics... I find it a bit bizarre that Tactics is not on the list, but Revenant Wings is. But we're talking 7 right now. Okay, everyone. 12 Revenant Wings is a stand-in for Tactics. My PS1 Final Fantasy, the mainline ones, 8 is my preferred, then 7, then 9, so... But do I want to put... We'll come back to it. I don't know if I want to put 9 in A+, or if I want to put 7 in A. Tactics A+ for sure. I agree. I think Tactics is a very, very, very special game, Tiger Time. I think it's an incredibly special game. We'll come back and figure things out. 6. Six is goated as fuck, dude. I can't see 6 not being an S tier. I can't see 6 not being an S tier, dude. Those characters, the story, so many like memorable story beats. It's stupidly ambitious for a Super Nintendo game. It's crazy what they did on Super Nintendo. It has my boy Cyan. Not a lot of people talk about Cyan from Final Fantasy VI. It's all Locke, Celeste, Terra, who I really like. I like all 3 of those. Yeah, the soundtrack. I gotta remember to talk about the soundtracks too. I think 8 is the best soundtrack out of all of them, 100%. But yeah, 6 is a S tier game. I really think it just... It's a full package adventure. It hits on every level. Characters, gameplay, world, music. The setting is cool. Villain is fantastic. Just this nihilistic ass motherfucker who just wants to make chaos. And he succeeds. And he's really messed up. Like what I was gonna say with Cyan. Like, he's the samurai character in Final Fantasy VI, but I remember the reason I fell in love with him. Oh my god, I love this song. Song's so good. But his city was getting sieged by the bad guys, by Kefka and stuff. And the bad guys couldn't take over the city. Because every time Cyan would go onto the battlefield and mop the floor with everyone. You know, like, you'd go on the battlefield, boom, another day. Goes on the battlefield the next day, and it was just this forever siege. But then Kefka is like, well, we can't take it over because of this guy, this jerk. How about we poison the water supply? And then they poison the water supply, which kills off most people, but also women and children. Including Cyan's wife and daughter. So from that point on, he wants, like, mega revenge. He feels like, oh, maybe we should have thrown in the towel, maybe we should have waved the white flag. So he has this very interesting moral quandary. Like, he wants vengeance. He knows who did it. He isn't, like, really blaming himself. Like, obviously he's mad at Kefka. But he's also like, shit, a lot of people died. And maybe if we just wave the white flag, so many people wouldn't have died. So I think it's a really cool moral quandary. I love Cyan. 6 is fantastic. 10-2 S plus. 10-2. Am I gonna put it ahead of 6 though? No. No. But 10-2 is a fucking best job implementation in all of Final Fantasy and best ATB system. Best job system, best ATB system. It's what if Final Fantasy was also Charlie's Angels. As a kid, I was all obsessed with Charlie's Angels. So I really liked that. That shit was sick, man. Drew Barrymore, Lucy Liu, Cameron Diaz. That shit was tight. But all joking aside, 10-2. The reason it gets dinged for a lot of people is it's a weird sequel. Tonally, like in some ways I think like because at the end of 10 you defeat Sin, the world is finally broken. The world is finally out of this like never-ending spiral of Sin coming back and blah 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 and the religion fear mongering everything and blah 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 and finally the spiral is broken. And then 10-2, because of that, there's a lot more hope in the world, so the tone is quite a bit lighter. But then there's also power vacuums in the world in 10-2, which I think are really clever and good. You get different factions trying to move in after like everything has changed. I'm a top 1% Final Fantasy X-2 fan, but I'm also correct. Gameplay wise, like it depends on what you play Final Fantasy games for, right? Like I played for everything. Some people are like, oh, only the story or only the gameplay. I played for everything. 10-2 has my favorite gameplay in the series. I think it has the best ATB system, the best job system. It's fun, it's exciting. It's nice timing based. Character building is fun. Music is a banger. Like, for that alone, I think anyone play it, bro. It's unfortunate that the easiest version to play is the remaster version, because they fucked up the faces with Final Fantasy X and 10-2 remaster. You know, like those faces are actually like garbage. The PS2 faces look way better. Look way better than the remaster faces, but as long as you know that the faces are better than the original. Any Blitzball? Yes. That is a thing that I'm not a blind glazer. My eyes are open, Tiger Time. My eyes are open. I don't blindly glaze this game. The Blitzball minigame is shit. Instead of improving what they did in 10, they tried to make it some like turn-based tactics. Well, it is technically turn. No, it's not really turn-based in 10. They just fuck it up. They change it entirely. They changed it entirely, and not for the better. So, I haven't played much of the Blitzball in 10-2. While being a big Blitzball fan in 10. I played like 10s, 20s, maybe hundreds of hours of regular Blitzball in 10. So that is the thing that's genuinely worse. It introduces a card game, and the card game is pretty solid. It's just like how they introduce it and the rules. Like, I think Final Fantasy struggles with this in most Final Fantasy games. Is like with their card games, like the way they explain it is not good, or maybe I'm dumb. Maybe. Except for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, that card game, I think they explained it well. That card game is like very simple, and they expand it very logically. But yeah, 10-2. Want to have a fantastic time. Want to enjoy the best job system, one of the best soundtracks, the best ATB system. Play 10-2. If you want lighthearted fun. It's not just lighthearted fun. There are some down moments too and stuff, but its tone is a bit all over the place, but it's not that much of an issue for me. So this is my tier list. It's my tier list. 10. How many S pluses are we gonna? How many S's? I might have to drop some. I think 10 is the best Final Fantasy game of all time. 8 is my favorite Final Fantasy game of all time. I think 10 is the best Final Fantasy game. Does that make sense, chat? 8 is my favorite, 10 is the best. So, we'll see how many we have in S plus tier. In S tier. I want my S to mean something, so maybe we'll drop some lower. 13 Lightning Returns, I actually really like. But... What the fuck?! What?! Did you guys see that?! I'm glad. I hate ads, dude. Oh my god, the internet used to be kind of good, man. Okay, but 13 Lightning Returns. The thing, I like the 13 series more than the average person. I used to be very down on 13. Because I didn't have my expectations were very different for it, but it has some of the best music in the series. The visuals are still crazy. Those visuals are crazy good still. Like it looks still just as good as games coming out in 2025, dude. But I really like the paradigm system in 13. I really like the combat in 13, and I don't remember much of the story. Lightning Returns. I prefer regular 13 over Lightning Returns, though. So, 13-2, I didn't care for. That is the one in the 13 series. Yeah, Luisa returns. Hell yeah. She's so good. Most people, from what I understand, they think 13-2 is the best of the 13 series. I really, I didn't stick with it. You know? So, I just don't like Sarah as a protagonist or as a character. I didn't care for her in the first game. Her being the protagonist in the second game did nothing for me. Then her homie Noelle did nothing for me. Apparently the villain in 13-2 is incredible, but yeah. I don't have a whole lot more to say. I just didn't... You know, the music is good again. It has the funniest Chocobo theme where they made a death metal version of the Chocobo theme. I think that might push it at least into B tier. It's garbage, that Chocobo theme, but it's really funny. Oh, Luisa. Mwah. 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 Yeah, 13-2. The defenders and the fans say it has the best combats of the 13 series, so... But I just didn't care about anything else, and I'm a fan of the combat in 13, actually, so... I still didn't care for it, so don't need to speak much longer on it. 13. I like it more than Lightning Returns. Maybe I'll put 13 in B. 13 Lightning Returns. She's so calm. I like it better than 5. I don't like it better than 4. Feel good about that. You say B for you? 13 and B tier for you, Tiger Time? I can see that. I can see that. I've come around to it. A seems pretty high, huh? I don't want to be influenced by the chat. But A feels high. I think it's overhated. But then also, the cast of characters, it has one S tier character, Saz, who I think is incredible. Hope and Vanille are meh. Feng is really, really cool aesthetically, but as a character, Feng actually just doesn't get much time to shine. So that's one of those things, like Feng, like, you can sense the coolness off of her, and she's... But in actuality, she doesn't get that much. Yeah. I think Lightning is okay. I really soured on Lightning because I read an interview where they basically said that they wanted to make a female Cloud. And I heavily disagree with creating a character in that way. Let's make this character like this other iconic character. Instead of, like, let's just make a character that's cool on their own terms. Or let's make a character that fits the themes of this game. And she ain't female Cloud. You know, female Cloud. Cloud is goated, dude. That's one of the coolest characters. She ain't him. It will never make it into A+ for me. I do think it's overhated. I think anyone that really doesn't like 13, I urge them to give it another shot, knowing the expectations. And appreciating the game on what it actually is. It's just weird to play a Final Fantasy game and it says auto battle. You know? That doesn't feel right. Really, if they named it anything else from auto battle, I think people would have liked it more. Because it's not really about hitting the elements. I mean, your characters will do that automatically, like hitting the right elemental weaknesses and stuff. But it's changing the paradigms. You know? That's where the real skill lies. Changing the paradigms at the right time. Yeah. I put it in B, though. We'll keep it there for now. I haven't played 3. So outside of the MMOs, 3 is the only one I haven't played. 2, I put... Whoa. Actually, I only grabbed 12 there. 2. Paradigms were cool. And that soundtrack is one of the best in the whole series. If I made a soundtrack tier list, it would be like an S tier. Three was cool. You put it in B. Yeah, I've done a bit of research into 3. I just haven't played it myself, so I can't say. 2, didn't care for... No, I did care. I did like it. So It can't be didn't care for. These two just washed together for me. The main thing I remember about Final Fantasy II is that I liked the main character Firion. I thought he was cool. He's on the cover of the game. We'll keep it there. 12 S. 2A, tell me why you like 2 so much, Tiger Time. It just kind of got memory hold for me. Like, I like it better than 1. That's for sure. That is 100% sure. 2... I just don't feel that strongly about either of them. But I still like them. I still think they're solid. But I think 2 is better than 1. 12? I think all of these remasters that they've been doing for Final Fantasy games are ass. The 7 remasters ass, the 8 remasters ass, the 9 remasters ass, the 10 remasters ass. But the remaster for 12 is incredible. And so is the remaster for Final Fantasy Tactics, by the way, so it's really funny that the Matsuno directed, the Ivalice setting remasters are actually good. I didn't like 12 as a kid, but I think it was because of my prefrontal cortex not really being developed enough. I really turned on 12 with the remaster. Hey, Louisa, you don't need to be scratching the screen, please. Louisa, will you not do that, please? Thank you. Let me move her out of the way. Yeah, 12 is A+. I feel very good about that. Yeah. It's the remaster that I really enjoyed more, the Zodiac Age, because at first with 12, I didn't like the license board because I felt it just didn't feel exciting to me, it didn't look cool to me. And most characters, I felt like they became this like indistinct sludge of a character, where they all kind of like did the same thing. But then the Zodiac Age adds jobs to it, where you can pick one of 12 jobs for your 6 characters. White Mage, Black Mage, Red Mage, Machinist, Knight, Thief. It's called different. It's called Ulan instead of Thief. Blah, blah, blah. Archer. Samurai, Monk. You can pick those jobs. So the character... But then that locks them out of the other jobs. So your characters actually feel different in Final Fantasy 12. So yeah. The political intrigue I really like. I've softened on Vaan. I thought Vaan was... what can I say about Vaan? I hated Vaan as a kid. As an adult, I'm less... I'm less harsh on Vaan. I'm just like, he's fine. He's okay, you know? It's the other characters that shine. And then you have Balthier. Huge man crush in Balthier. Fun fact, Balthier's voice actor, to make this related to Tekken, is the same voice actor as Steve Fox. Gideon Emery is his name. Let me catch up with chat. As a kid, 2 was like 1, but with characters that had defined personalities. Yeah, that's why I like it better. The beginning was great and the Emperor was an awesome villain. 2 mostly a Tiger Time nostalgia pick, but really enjoyed the leveling too. Yeah. I can see that. I can totally see that. I like 12 better than Tactics. If you want a game that has a fuck ton of content, 12 has so much content, dude. It's incredible. Yeah, I think the remaster is a fantastic remaster. I think it improved a lot about the game, and it didn't butcher the art style while doing it, which is why I dislike the other remasters, because they really take a dump on the art style. Um, yeah, I really love 12. Once again, Revenant Wings is the stand-in for Tactics. I haven't really talked about 7, because I was scared to talk about 7, but we'll come to that. 16 made me love Final Fantasy again. And yeah, I'm glad that the remake of 7 isn't on here, because I'd be talking until my hairs are gray if I talk about the remake. Um, there's I haven't talked a lot about 10 or 7. I know. 10 is just I'm just like, I don't even like if you know, you know, like if you played 10, you just know. You don't need me to explain it to you. If you haven't played 10, fucking play 10, dude. You know, if you haven't played 10, just fucking do it, man. I don't need it's just a emphatic, just what the fuck are you doing? How dare you call yourself a gamer sort of thing. Um so there's not much to say about 10. I think it hits in so many levels. 16. Your original question. It made me love Final Fantasy again. I was kind of lukewarm with 12, 13, 15. Although I like 12 a lot more thanks to the Zodiac remaster. But still, it wasn't a Final Fantasy that I loved. I was disappointed with Final Fantasy 7 Remake. Very disappointed. I was like, I don't think they got it anymore. Maybe I outgrew Final Fantasy. Maybe it's not the same people that made the older games. So like, what am I expecting? Um, but Final Fantasy 16 has the best protagonist. Straight up, I think he's the best protagonist. Shit, Cloud is really good too. Cloud is Cloud is really. It's hard to say. Cloud's whole issue of identity is so fucking good, dude. Oh boy. Clive is a top tier Final Fantasy character. If he's not number one, he's number two. You know, only beaten by Cloud, I think. So it has that going in it for it. Fantastic soundtrack, just covering the basics. Um, yeah, people have said that it's slow in terms of pacing. For instance, remember the desert being mentioned. Yeah, yeah. That's why it's not an S tier. It's one of my favorite Final Fantasy games. You know, like I'd put it next to 8 if this was like a favorite list, but this is what I think is straight up best list. Slightly different. Um Yeah, we'll get to the pacing with 16. Um 5 is fantastic. Oh, this is what I was saying. You know how every Final Fantasy game has summons, right? But si- but not every Final Fantasy game summons are actually like incorporated into the story very much. You know, in some games they're just there. Because in Final Fantasy 7, I think the summons are just there. You know, some people, you know, like they're related to the materia, and the materia are like powers from the planet and the life stream, the blood, but like they're just kind of there. You know, um, a lot of Final Fantasies, I feel like summons are kind of there. 10 Final Fantasies are summons are incredibly important. Sin is a summon, and the whole journey and the pilgrimage is all about summons. It has the summoner class as a main character, Yuna. Blah blah blah. 10 is super summoner focused. 8 is very focused on guardian forces, the summons, particularly with its plot contributions. But after 10, I'd say 16 has the most relevant summons. And I think that's really cool. I think it's like hard focused on summons. They're called icons in 16. So I think that's really cool. I've been replaying it. A friend of mine, I told them how sick Final Fantasy 16 was, and they started coming over and watching Final Fantasy 16, and they've gotten obsessed with 16. And so I've been replaying it. I'm about halfway through. And it has these moments in the game where I'm just like, 13-year-old Gil could never imagine like playing a game that is this badass. Like all of the boss fights in this game are just like better than almost any boss fight in any other game. You know, it's crazy. The spectacle is stupendous. Like, I can talk like really intelligent about things, but in the end, it's also like rule of cool. Is this shit cool? Is this shit sick? And Final Fantasy 16 has so much stuff that is just so cool and is so sick. Um, Fantastic story. Combat. That's where it's complicated with a series like Final Fantasy. Some people are very traditional. Some people think Final Fantasy is this one thing. I always appreciate that Final Fantasy is very different every time. And Final Fantasy has slowly become faster and faster paced, you know. 10 was kind of like this weird stop where they went fully turn based, not even active time battle. It was just, you know, like if you didn't take a turn, nothing would happen in Final Fantasy 10. But overall, shit goes more towards real time and faster and more action focused. But I always felt like they were putting one foot in one door and the other in the other door, or whatever the saying is. And I like 13's combat. I like 12's combat. 15 I actually really don't like. I think 15 is like a shitty action game. Um, you know, it's like shitty Kingdom Hearts. Um, but I'm not that hung up on Final Fantasy having to be turn-based. I'm just not. For me, Final Fantasy hasn't been turn-based for a long time. And nor do I think that that's what it only has to be. I'm a fan of execution. I'm a fan of cool-ass action. I love Devil May Cry. I love Bayonetta. So, in that way, Final Fantasy 16 is a Devil May Cry game, is a Bayonetta game. And I think that's fucking peak. I think that's peak. Some people are like, but the game is boring, the game is easy, all you do is spam attack, and I'm like, you fucking monkey. Like, it's the typical shit where people like make the game. They make the game boring for themselves. Because Final Fantasy 16, I think one of its main issues is it has two difficulty modes. It has an easy mode and a normal mode. Normal mode, if you play video games, will be pretty straightforward. It won't be that hard. I wish it just started with a hard mode. You only unlock hard mode after you finish the game. The thing is, in Devil May Cry, that works really nicely. In Devil May Cry, you have like 4 difficulty modes, and then you finish the game, you unlock another. You finish it again, you unlock another. But Devil May Cry is an 8-hour game. You know. Final Fantasy 16 is a 60-hour game, you know. But to speak on the people that say all you do is just spam attack, it's like you're literally playing the game in the most boring way, and you only have yourself to blame for. It's like, yes, you can defeat almost everything with just attack, but also you're making a mind-numbing for yourself. You're making the boss fights take 4 times as long because you're not willing to engage, because there's so much depth with the game, but it doesn't require you to engage with a lot of that depth. It invites you, but a lot of people, like, it doesn't force you to get into that depth. So it's kind of like, so for someone whose brain has been formed by action games, I can see, like, the building blocks. I can see, like, oh, this move is like that move. This move is like this move in Devil May Cry, or this move is like that. Oh, I can see how this all comes together. Oh, shit, I can do all of this at the same time. And for other people, they might not realize how complex it can get, or they just don't want to. And then if they don't want to, they call the game brain dead. So, that's the thing. Does that kind of make sense, what I mean with the combat? I love the combat. It has some of the best spectacles in any video game. Clive is goated. People that say it's not a Final Fantasy game are smoking crack. It's like so Final Fantasy. It's so fucking Final Fantasy. It first, like, it gives this veneer of, like, we're not Final Fantasy, but it's a facade. It's such a Final Fantasy game, dude. Like, thematically, it's a total fucking Final Fantasy game. But yeah, my main issue with it is the pacing. Peak Sid, best Sid. Best Sid. Easy. It has the best Sid. Easy. The pacing, it has these lulls where it isn't just the side quests, it's some of the main quests. There's moments in the game where the main quests are fetch quest E-ish. And it's just unavoidable. And it's like I'm a big 16 glazer. I think there's nothing in the game that's like bad. But there are things in the game, they just expand side characters and they expand the world in kind of like tangential ways. And for some people, they don't give a fuck about that. They just want to keep going with the main characters, with the main large cast and that sort of stuff. So it kind of like fills out smaller things. And some of the side quests are kind of like menial, and people are like, "Man, I'm fucking Clive Rossfield. I kill gods, you know. I Why am I plucking these berries for you? And for me, I'm just always like, that's just the kind of dude Clive is. He's just a nice guy. He's not above anyone, you know? He'll help you farm berries because he's just that nice a guy, you know? Um, so and it fills out the lore of the world. It's not just like you do something boring for no reward. The reward is you get to know the characters more, but um I think the game should have started with a hard mode, and there are times where you can probably, even with me defending it, like, I still admit that the pacing sometimes is a bit too slow at times. You're out of like the main juicy stuff for just a bit too long, and then you're back in the major juicy stuff, and then you're awesome stuff, awesome stuff, awesome stuff, and then it's like, okay, here's this pause, and it's nice to have pauses. You need to have peaks and valleys in every story. You can't just be at an 11 the entire time. But when it turns down the volume and goes more chill, there are times it stays a bit too slow for a bit too long. So that's why it's an A plus rather than S. But it made me love Final Fantasy again. After like having played Final Fantasy games for like 15 years and not falling in love with them again. 16 made me fall in love with Final Fantasy again. So, what about no party system? It's a character action game. It's Dante doesn't have a party. Bayonetta doesn't have a party. So would it be cool? Like in the game, you have your dog with you most of the time, and your dog you can control certain attacks with, where your dog kind of like helps you out with combos and stuff. And the dog's name is Torgal. I need to put respect on his name, and Torgal's incredible. Torgal's cool as fuck. And then throughout the story, you have like one or two human characters with you every now and then. And they help you in combat, but you're still expected to do the heavy lifting. They do a little bit of damage, and you see them throw like ice spells and stuff and fire spells. But yeah, there's a much of a party system, and the characters are there with you sometimes, but you don't control them, you don't manage them. Yeah, and that's the whole thing. Just like, would it have been cool? I guess so, but the thing that I have a bigger issue with 16 than no party system it's the gear system. The gear system is straight up boring. It's just like, here are some bracers, and they have more health and armor than your previous bracers. You get your next set of bracers. These are just more HP and more armor than the previous ones. They don't have special effects. Same with the swords you get. And that is legitimately, it's kind of like, you guys had the balls to remove so much RPG stuff. Why do we still have this vestigial gear system if it's not actually very interesting? That's like late game you get some accessories that actually change the way you play. Late game. Because that's what I think accessories should do. They should like change how you play the game. Like, do I use this? I get this effect. Or I get this gameplay thing. Or I use this and I get this gameplay thing. And Final Fantasy 16 is pretty scarce on that with the gear. So that's a lot of spoken on 16. I think it's peak. I think it's peak. It's a classic game that is not perfect, and I'm just happy that it doesn't try to have a foot in both doors, and it's just like, you know what, we've been flirting with the idea of action for like 20 years now, 30 years now. Let's actually just make a full action game, and I'm glad that they did it. Do I think every Final Fantasy game needs to play like this? No. I'd love to have a 16-2 to keep up with this combat. But, so yeah. Been talking for a while. Didn't say many words in 7. What's there to say about 7, man? Like, shit, there's so much to say about 7, but some of the best characters. I like the world a lot. The materia system is really nice. I think materia is really cool. Cloud and Tifa and Barrett and Red 13, man. That whole cast is so good. It's just Keith Sid is just like, alright. Like Kate Sid and Yuffie, they're alright. Vincent is cool as fuck. He's just another character that like looks really cool, sounds really cool, and seems really cool, but doesn't get that much time in the spotlight. But Vincent's cool. Genova is one of the scariest sort of creatures in any game. Genova is terrifying, man. It really gets like under my skin. Like I find Genova very creepy. Sephiroth. It's the first Final Fantasy game I ever finished. I played 10 before 7, but 7 is the first one I ever finished. What it does with Cloud's story, Cloud's characterization, I think is really, really just astounding. It's one of those like deconstructions of like this boy fantasy of what is cool through the eyes of a boy. Like in the game he's 20, but you know, that's young, but I think he went into Arrested Development when he was like 16 or 17. 'Cause that's the whole thing. That's when he went into Soldier. That's when he got Mako poisoning, Mako poisoning, and that sort of stuff. He just kind of, and he saw Zack, and Zack saved his life, and Zack is so cool, and he just took on Zack's persona, and he just presents the whole stoic stuff with Cloud. Is like, how the way he presents himself is just like what a 15-year-old boy would think is really cool. And in a way, he is cool in those ways, but in other ways, he's also very stunted. But you know, then he learns to know his true self, and then he gets support from his friends, and there's a breakthrough in his psyche. And he comes back in like a stronger way than ever in his selfhood, and I think that's such an important message. It's just like yourself, you know? You don't need to be anyone else, you know? You have it in you. I love that. It makes me excited. So yeah, 7's goated. I want to play some Tekken still, so this was probably an hour of chatting, so let me just do some swapping or changing. 15 is just like so fucking disappointing to me, so I'm okay with keeping it there. I don't hate it, like, because I like a lot about 15, so that's why I put it in C. But it just And I saw your question, what makes Final Fantasy? I'll get into that another time, probably while playing Tekken or whatever. I can always change my mind on that. What makes a Final Fantasy? What do you think makes a Final Fantasy, brother? I'll reverse that question on you. Do I like 13 or 9 better? I like 9 better, although I think 13's overrated. My S tier, it feels weird to have so many in S, but I truly feel this way. So, it is one of my favorite franchises on the... Is it my favorite franchise of all time? Is it? Probably is. Metal Gear Solid is up there too for favorite franchises. But yeah, best Final Fantasy game is 10. 10. 8 is my favorite. 6 is just a goated RPG. It's just insane. 12. Best ATB system. Best combat. 16. Best protagonist. Story. Stupendously epic game. Yeah. Okay. That's it. That's it. Hell yeah. I think I'm gonna put this on my YouTube channel, chat. I'm gonna put pictures over this bullshit, these dumb ads here on the side. I don't want to be fucking shilling for HBO. Fuck that. They keep upping my prices. Yeah, I truly feel that way. 10-2 over 7, I truly feel that way. In my A+, don't get me wrong, like my A+ is like, from here on, these are just like the best games of all time. Okay? Like, from this point on, we're talking the best games of all time. You know, like top 100 video games list sort of stuff. Is that's kind of where I'm at with these games, so you know. Although 10-2 is in a tier above 7, it doesn't mean that 10-2 is eons better, you know. Doesn't mean 8 is eons better. Most people think 8 is quite worse than 7. But yeah. Oh, you couldn't quite see that? Oh, sorry. Yeah. No. This is... When we get into the A+ tier, we're talking best games of all time tier, you know. So, like, I can make a case for any of these. Maybe 12. Fuck. It doesn't matter that much. Maybe I prefer Tactics over 12. Yeah, I'd prefer Tactics over 12. But that remaster of 12 is incredible, though. Okay, chat. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to take a 5-minute break. I've been yapping a lot. And then we're going to go back.